Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Under Review. My name is Phil Ivanko. That is the head of officiating for Major Arena Soccer League, Ryan Cigich. Ryan, we are so in demand that we decided to do an episode in the middle of the semifinals.
We got a lot to cover today, and only 2 games.
First play we're going to discuss today is from Florida, Kansas City, fourth quarter, 7-7. And Ryan, the Comets think that they have taken an 8-7 lead. But wait a second. There was a big ruling on the field. Why don't you take us through it?
Yeah, big ruling here. We have a line change by Kansas City, and Sandovari, as you can see, is entering the game. And his line mate is Richard Schmerman, who's exiting. If you notice several hands on the Florida bench, they go up lobbying for a too many men immediately when this happens. There's a no call on the field by the assistant referee. And keep in mind that a no call is a call. And then just prior to kickoff, we see the challenge flag there thrown by Clay Roberts. The thought process at the time was that Sandovari is on the field just prior to Schmerman leaving. It's in the attacking half. And then Sandovari obviously is the one who scores the goal, and therefore an advantage was gained. And that was the ruling that was made at the time. The goal was disallowed. I think while in fact that may be technically the correct decision, in my opinion, after looking at this again multiple times after the fact, that this one is just so close to call, Phil. I personally don't like the too many men call on this, looking at it later. So, you know, we're speaking strictly to the VR process. And I think if you have to slow something down and stop it in order to determine, in this case was Sandovari on just a little bit early, does that really constitute a clear and obvious error? And can we use VR to say this is, quote, clearly wrong? I don't know. The answer to this, I think, in my opinion, is no. It's just too close. I think the call should have stood that was made at the time.
All right, so a little bit more definitive now. We're going to jump backwards to the third quarter. And James Togba, I'm going to call this a wrangle. He kind of wrangled Zach Reggett, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about several times this season fouls that stop a promising attack on goal. I think this is another example of that. I mean, the ball's played long into Reggett, and there it comes off the boards. And you can see that James is holding Zach and denies him an opportunity to play the ball. More than likely, he would have had a clear shot on goal. I think Reggett embellishes the contact, but even so, it's a clear hold. I think it's a great call there by Josh Wilkins. Probably could be debated whether or not this could have been a shootout. Yeah, what do you think on that, Phil?
I think it was a shootout. In my opinion, I think it was a shootout goal. I think that he was clear, was denying of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. I think Togba was the last defender. So in my opinion, I think it was a shootout opportunity for Reggett.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing on this is Reggett did not yet have control of the ball, and that's why we went with no shootout on the play.
Over to the game between the San Diego Sockers and the Chihuahua Savage. We're about 25 seconds to go in the first half, and there's a skirmish in the corner. Ryan, why don't you clean up the clutter on this one?
Yeah, I mean, a foul is called here, and then you can see after the whistle, Pino comes in and just does a two-handed push to the chest down. It's a dead ball infraction there. Only a foul was called, but Coach Borrego throws a challenge flag. Referee Kadlesic and Ibarra go take a look at it. They come out of here with a 2-minute penalty on Pino for the two-handed push.
So we're going to stay in Chihuahua. Now we're in the third quarter, and Roberto Escalante is given a blue card for tripping Alan Garcia. I'd love a couple more angles to really see this one again, but in my opinion, I don't think this elevates to a blue card, Ryan. Does it look bad? Of course it does. Garcia's on the ground, he's rolling around, but I don't think this tackle was blue card worthy. What do you think?
Well, this is another one. It's called as only a foul. Then the challenge flag comes from San Diego. I think the question here is this a reckless challenge? It's from the side, not from behind. The foot's on the ground versus high in the air. I guess, you know, we could say that it's a bit late, so is there a real opportunity to play the ball? I think that's what the referees took into consideration on this one. You know, after them looking at it again, Kadlesic and Ibarra give a 2-minute power play penalty on this.
So I will disagree here, and I will say if we're going to review for a play like this, it has to be clear and obvious that that elevates to a blue card, and I just don't think that we can elevate this play to a blue card.
Well, Phil, as we say, in the opinion of the referee, which you were not on that game, in the opinion of the referee, this was reckless.
In the opinion of your bald host, it was only a 2-minute penalty. Continuing in Chihuahua, we're in the fourth quarter now. 5-4 Savage, about 9 minutes to play. And the Savage think that they've scored a goal to double their lead. Now, if you're just watching the game, you're thinking, oh, this goal is called off because Pardo had control of the ball. But Ryan, it's for something entirely different.
Yeah, Phil, it's for a handball. It's for an attacker handball. And we talked about one of these a few weeks ago. Anytime where you have a hand or arm contact with the ball from an attacker and the goal is scored immediately, that goal is disallowed. So the judgment of determining whether it was deliberate or not, that is no longer in play. This is the correct call because there was contact with the hand and then a goal was scored. It went to VR on this play. They went to take another look at it just because of the big call that this was. They just wanted to make sure. And I think Ibarra does a great job on this because he hesitates his whistle until after the ball's in the back of the net, even though he knew he was calling the handball. And he did that just to give them an opportunity to be able to go and look at video and make sure that there was contact. And you have to do that, Phil, because once the whistle's blown, then everything at that point stops.
Okay, I love this one. This is why we do under review. About 90 seconds or so left in the game, and their sixth attacker is on for San Diego. No camera angle is great here, but my man Serta, he doesn't really get off the field when the ball is headed back from Pardo, right? Like, this is 6 man. This is too many men.
Well, the violation wasn't really on Serta. It was actually on Pardo. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago, Phil. This is your rule 3.6. So a goalkeeper who's substituting for a sixth attacker does not have to be to the team's bench before that sixth attacker comes in. The goalkeeper only must make a move towards the team bench, which Pardo does. However, he stops. If Pardo were to keep coming to the bench, this would have been a legal play. But the moment that Pardo stops his run toward the bench, that's when it becomes too many men.
Okay, so I'm a little confused still, but that's normal for me. As soon as he stopped his run, that's when he is deemed to be still on the field?
That's correct. As soon as Pardo stops his run toward the bench, then that becomes the violation for too many men.
Last one from Chihuahua, San Diego. We're jumping around a little bit. Bear with us. You're here for the whole show. Don't worry about continuity. Craig Childs just tied the game at 5. Felipe Gonzalez barrels, I'm going to say barrels, into Berna Valdivinos. That's charging, right?
Yeah, I think it's charging. I mean, it's a good call there. He could have slowed up or stopped or got out of the way, but he chose to come right through the keeper.
That's it for game 1s from the semifinals. I'm sure we'll be back here for game 2s. Probably plenty of plays to review after the game 2s, don't you think?
I bet we will, Phil.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be arguing once again here on Under Review. See you next time.